if there's one thing that's going to help you and I going into the new year to become better at whatever it is that we want to accomplish, or become better at the things that we're doing, or if we're going to meet our goals for the new year, if there's one thing that we have to know, it's this. This is, I believe that what I'm about to tell you right now is the most critical piece of success in anything that we do, anything at all. It's one thing. And that thing is called self-awareness. What is self-awareness? I'll give you my definition. Self-awareness is being observant, understanding who you are, understanding where you are, understanding who you're with, understanding what things around you in the moment may cause you to stumble, may cause you to not be your very best. It's understanding what things you may be doing in the moment that are causing you to not have success in whatever you're doing. I'll give you an example. I'm getting ready to go out here just a little bit and play a round of golf. And before I step up to the ball to tee off, I have to get my mind focused, and I have to be aware. I have to be cognizant of how I'm approaching the ball, of how I'm lined up on the ball. And not even that, before I even approach the ball, I need to, I know this about me. I've learned this as I've been playing golf over the last year. I have to step back. Once I get the ball on the tee, I step back. I take a look at the whole fairway in front of me. I take a look at the tee box and how it's lined up. And then I step to the ball, and then I have to be aware. I have to consciously understand and think through how I'm approaching the ball. I have to think about my swing before I go back, before I take the club back. Depending on what club I have in my hand, I have to be aware of all of these things. And that takes effort, especially as a new golfer. That takes effort because you have to consciously think through these things, and you have to tell yourself to do these things. Now, you have guys out there, and women, ladies and men who are out there on the professional golf tour who don't have to do that quite as consciously as I do, right? Eventually it becomes a subconscious maneuver. It becomes they do it without even thinking about it. But if I'm trying to do something new, improve my life, meet goals that I've set for myself, I have to sit back and I have to be aware of all of these things, just like when I'm approaching that golf ball, right? So I have to understand what's around me. I just like, I have to understand which way that tee box is facing, how I'm lined up on the ball, and I have to tell myself to do those things, and then be very methodical as to how, once I am ready, how I execute those things. It's the same in life. It's no different. I love God. That's why any sport really, but especially golf. Golf is so the mental game of golf is just incredible. It really, really is. And in life, the mental game, succeeding in life, the mental game is so much more important than the physical game, because the mental game prepares you for the physical game. How I'm thinking, how I'm preparing, how I'm looking at the scene before I do anything, looking at the golf course, or whatever it is. If it's getting in shape, if it's eating better, I have to be completely self-aware. If it's eating better, I need to know before I walk into that grocery store exactly what I'm going to be confronted with in that grocery store. For me, for I've already started this. For 2025, I have cut out all sodas, everything. I am drinking water and unsweet tea. And you may be saying, unsweet tea, Todd, that's horrible. Yeah, it's not the best, but I'm avoiding the sugar. I'm avoiding the artificial sweeteners. I'm avoiding those things, and I am just drinking. So for the last 3 days, I started this right before Christmas. So even through Christmas Day, because I knew that would be a real test for me. So that's why I started early. Water, only water. That's what's in here. Water, right? And so one of my goals, for the new year for 2025 and beyond is to drink more only water, only unsweet tea. That's all I'm drinking. And related to that is to get in better shape, right? So I'm hoping those two things combine: more water, staying very well hydrated, eating a little better. I'm not cutting out everything. That's just not me. But I still had a piece of cake last night and had a great time eating Christmas food here and through the holidays. But I'm working really hard. So I've got to be self-aware. So earlier I had to go to the store, and when I walk in the store, well, guess what? There is a refrigerator full of sodas right there in front of me. And man, it caught my eye, and immediately subconsciously it's like, oh, go buy one. Well, I had to stop, think about what my goal was, why I'm doing this, what's my long-term vision here. I'm picturing this in my mind, right? I'm picturing where it is that I want to be in 1 year. I'm self-aware. I'm being completely aware of where I want to be 1 year from now with my diet, with my the shape of my body in terms of, am I healthy or healthier that I am right now? And I'm not unhealthy now. I just had a physical and nothing came back negative. But I just know as I'm getting older, there's things I've got to really start taking care of a little better. So I'm being very, very, it's my camera is turning here, so bear with me. I'm being very, very aware. I'm being very aware of what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, where I'm placing myself before I go into the store. I got to know I'm going to be faced with temptations. I'm going to be faced with the temptations of sodas. I'm going to be faced with the temptation of things that I'm trying to avoid eating. I'm going to be faced. I got to know that before I walk into that store. That's now a conscious decision. I'm used to living subconsciously. I just do whatever I want to do. I just do whatever my body's telling me, right? So this is a mind and a body challenge. It's not just a mind challenge, right? Because on a very cellular level, if we could say that, a very cellular level, our body stores memory, not just our brain, but our body and our cells. Our body's telling us, no, this is not what we do, Todd. This is not how we do things. We do things this way, not this way. What is this new way you're doing things, Todd? You need to stop that. You need to go back to doing things the old way. My body is drawn to that. It's not just my mind. It's not just here. It's here. That's why Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, 24 through 27, that he not only talks about taking control of your mind, that it's a battle, but that he brings his body into subjection. So it's a fight. And so you're going to have this fight, and I'm going to have this fight. And the key component of this fight is being completely self-aware. Self-awareness is so critical to our success in overcoming bad habits, getting in better shape, addiction. I tell the guys at Next Step all the time, if you're not practicing self-awareness, being completely aware of where you are, where you're going, what is the environment you're getting ready to put yourself into, who are the friends you're getting ready to put yourself around, right? Self-awareness. So I wrote down a few things here before I started this video in relation to self-awareness. So what are some 5 key components? I'll put it right there. 5 key components of becoming more self-aware in 2025, right? Number 1, how do people respond to you, right? So if I'm trying to talk to somebody and I don't feel like that they're listening to me, I don't feel like that they care, maybe they're turned off. Well, why? Ask the question, why? And that'll be another point down here. Why do you believe that people respond to you? Why do they not want to be around you? Why do people avoid you? Or why do people want to be around you? Let's flip that around. What are you doing that causes people to want to be around you? Or what are you doing that causes people to not want to be around you, to not listen to you? Why do you not have the influence that you think that you should have? So number one, how do people respond to you? Think about that. Be self-aware. When you're speaking to somebody and it seems like they're tuning out, they don't want to be around you, you need to stop in the middle of that conversation mentally inside of you and say, okay, what am I doing that's causing this person to not be interested? And maybe you need to shut up and ask them a question and let them start talking to you. Maybe you're just talking too much, kind of like I am here on this video. It could be a matter of you're dominating the conversation, or sometimes it's just a matter of letting them speak and listening. People are drawn to people who listen to them. People want to feel like you feel they're important. Stop trying to be important and make other people feel important. And then you'll start to draw people into you. You start to build better relationships. Number two, acknowledge and embrace your strengths. Acknowledge and embrace your strengths. Know what your strengths are and work in those strengths. What are your gifts? What are your spiritual gifts? How has God gifted you? What's the thing he's given you to do that you're good at? Stop trying to do the things that you're not gifted for. I know people who have told me that they want to preach and teach and speak in front of large crowds, and they're not gifted in that way. And I think that's an ego thing. They're ego driven and not gift driven. They want the attention that brings, and they want it on them. But it's not how God has gifted them. How has God gifted you? Start to work in those strengths. Start to work in your talents. Start to work in your skills. I am not a mechanic. I can barely put gas in a car. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to go out there and pretend that I'm a mechanic. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be real honest about that. I'm just going to, and that's another thing about self-awareness that we need to, let's just be honest about who we are. Let's be honest about these things. Remember, we come back to strengths, weaknesses, and I think that's really my next one is acknowledge your weaknesses. Acknowledge and prepare for a weakness or a temptation or a situation that you're going into. Again, going into the store today, I had to prepare myself that I'm going to see a cooler full of sodas when I go into that store. And I have to acknowledge that I'm going to be tempted. I'm going to want to have one. I'm going to want to buy one. What's your defense? How are you going to overcome this? You're just going to walk right past it. It's not even there, right? And then over time, I'm having to consciously think about this. It's purposeful. I have to be telling myself, no, no, no. But over time, as I build the habit of saying no, eventually it's going to become less of an issue for me, right? Eventually it's going to become very little of a problem for me. And that's what I want to get to. I'm not there yet. I have to be very, very conscious about everywhere I go. And you would think that, just for sodas, Todd, it is. You can't go to a restaurant. You can't go into a store. You can't go anywhere, and they're right there. All right. So, and not only that, but I've got accountability, right? I've got accountability around that. I've told people, hey, this is my decision for the next year, for 2025. I've cut out sodas completely. Regular sodas, diet sodas. No, I can't substitute a diet soda for no, that doesn't count. So I have accountability around that as well. So number one, how do people respond to you? Number two, acknowledge and embrace your strengths, know what they are and operate in those things. Stop trying to be somebody you're not. Number three, acknowledge and prepare for your weaknesses or your temptations and to get accountability around those things. Tell people what you're doing, right? Hey, you know what? I just don't understand. I'm trying to build better relationships, but when I talk to people, it seems that they disengage from me. They're not interested. Could you give me some feedback? Give me some accountability on this. Well, Todd, the reason is that the reason people aren't responding to you, or they're not interested in talking to you, is because you talk too much. You don't listen to them. You're not inviting them into the conversation. You're just dominating the conversation, and then you gotta take that and not be mad about what they just told you, right? You have to receive the criticism, and that was my next one: is ask others to give you honest feedback and receive that criticism without being offended. And even when you don't ask for the criticism, I had somebody a while back give me feedback, criticism. I didn't ask for it, but I had to decide to receive it. And they were right. They were right in what they were telling me. They were very, very, very right about what they were telling me. The issue that the negative behavior that I didn't realize I did and was doing until they told me that. And then I had to say, you're right. I had to go back and correct that. I even had to go back and apologize to some people over it. It was humbling, but boy, that will be a hard mistake and a hard habit for me to repeat because of them coming to me, them telling me that, give me the feedback, and then be having to go and correct it, eat some humble pie. So that was very good for me. That was very good for me. It didn't feel good, but the result, the outcome was good. And that's what we're looking for. We're not looking to feel good here. We're not looking to feel good. Self-awareness is not about feeling good. It's about getting a good outcome. And then finally, number 5, we go back to kind of really what all of this is self-evaluation. Why did I fail? Why did I get it wrong? Why are my relationships not where they should be? Why am I not bringing in the income that I should be bringing in? Why am I not finding the success at work that I should be finding? And I'll give you a quick story about a man that I knew who was he was working for a company for a number of years, and all of his peers were being promoted. They had all been there about the same time, but he wasn't being promoted at all. And he told me, he said, well, the reason I'm not being promoted is because I don't go to the bar after work with all the guys and the girls and the boss. And I don't do those things. I just go home to my family and I spend time with my family. And therefore, that's the reason that I'm not getting promoted. And I asked him, I'll say, John, are there other people who don't go to the bar with your boss and with your coworkers after work who do get promoted? And he said, well, yes. I said, so that's not really the reason. The reason is not really because you're not fitting into the social scene with your boss and your coworkers. I said, I think the reason is because you're a negative individual and you've got to stop being negative. If you want to be promoted, you've got to stop these negative behaviors. And to this day, he was satisfied with staying where he didn't want to change. You've got to decide that you want to change. You've got to decide you're going to be self-aware. For some people, it's too hard. For some people, it's too difficult. They just don't. They can't take the feedback. They can't take they see it as an insult. They see it that you don't care about them, and really, it's the opposite. You do care about them. So if we're going to succeed, if we're going to meet our goals, if we're going to become the person that we want to be in 2025, and I have set some goals for myself for 2025. Number 1, no sodas, only water and unsweet tea, and more water than that. I have to drink more water. I can have a couple of unsweet teas a day, but I've got to be drinking water. Hydrate for 2025 and getting in better shape. It's not necessarily for me a losing weight issue, though I may lose a little bit. More for me, it's getting stronger, and I'm measuring those goals at the gym with the weights. As I get older, as you get older, your cells certainly deteriorate and your body gets weaker, and I'm trying to combat that weakness over time here, and I think that I'm going to have some success this year if I can stick to my goals and stick to my plan, and have financial goals for next step as well, and for personal, professional, and financial goals. Personal, professional, PPF. If you can set yourself this year some personal, professional, and financial goals, and then develop that self-awareness. Stop being offended. Let people tell you what's wrong with you. And then as they tell you what's wrong with you, make the changes you need to make and stop being so offended, stop being so negative. And you can have a great, not just a great year, you can have your whole life can explode in a positive direction. And man, I just love positive people. I try to be positive. I don't always succeed at it, but I try to be. I try to stay focused and try not to, when bad things are happening, conflict happens. You know what? I'm going to try to find the best in it, and that's just me. And just I haven't always been like that. I haven't always, but the older I get, the more I realize it's not worth it. I want to enjoy my life. Here goes my camera again. I want to. Sorry about that. I want to enjoy my life. I want to enjoy my family. I want to enjoy everything that I have going on around me. Life's just too short. So self-awareness, it is your key. It's your key. Self-awareness is your key for 2025. Thanks. Have a great one.